Welcome, Culture Power people. I am so happy to be here today. Why? Well, we're alive. It's a brand new day, and I get
Yes.
to speak to Mr. Bryan Collier. Bryan, take it away.
Hello, my name is Bryan Collier, and I'm pleased to be here. I'm an author and illustrator of picture books.
Yes. Look at me putting a little French flair on your name, Bryan Collier.
Yes,
It's
I'll take
Collier.
it.
So what I learned about you from your most recent book, and correct me if it's not your most recent book, but it's called Love is Loud, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's this book about Diane Nash, right? And yes, there it is. So tell me how you got involved with this book.
Well, like I knew the name Diane Nash through historical footage, um, and I knew her story, but I was so surprised that no one has ever done a picture book on Diane Nash. I mean, we talk
Right.
about everybody around her. When
Right.
she's walked with all the big leaders. She's one of them.
Yeah.
And but no one has actually done it. And I was speaking with a friend of mine who's the author of Sandra Neal Wallace. We had done a
Right.
book on Ernie Barnes,
Right.
and we talked about, well, what's the next project? I said, and we both came up with Diane Nash,
Right.
because it was so stark that no one has done it,
Right.
and the power that she possessed at such a young age, young 20-year-old,
Yeah.
19-year-old,
Yeah.
just
I mean,
courageous.
I think I'm embarrassed to say that I hadn't even dived that deep into Diane Nash, and I consider myself, somebody who is an advocate for the culture. So just this book alone opened my eyes. I know it's written towards children, but there's so much about her life that I feel like could be inspiring to adults too. Like she basically was a teenager who pushed back against the system in the South at the time, the very racist system in the South that
Absolutely.
tried to, put these laws in effect that you couldn't sit there and you couldn't go there. And she pushed back with what she had. So I really appreciate what Sandra Neal Wallace has done with historical figures like that. Basically putting them out into the open and saying, hey, did you know about this person? Let's explore their life together as children and adults.
Absolutely. I was just astounded that if you take a college kid, a young 20-year-old, 19-year-old, and she convinced her contemporaries
Right.
who are in college, look, let's do this sitting, let's integrate this lunch counter.
Yeah.
We're gonna basically put our life on the line because anything can happen,
Right.
you know. And so she led the way, and
Right.
she bore the responsibility of their lives because they put their lives in her hands,
Right. Right.
you
And
know.
she probably changed some adult minds too,
Oh, absolutely.
you
I
know?
mean, they were young adults, but still very, very young. And, to think about it, it was a lot of kids that were the first in their whole family to even go to college.
Right.
And now they're going to risk it, everything, to
Right.
do this bigger cause. So it was quite amazing, and so courageous. I mean, there's a footage that says President Kennedy sent one of his assistants down to stop her,
Yeah.
to try to talk her out of it,
Yeah.
and she basically said, "We ready to die. We're going
Right.
anyway."
Oh, I'm
And
getting
that's
the chills. I'm getting the
yeah,
chills
that's
even thinking about that. Like, we take so much for granted now. But yes, she was putting her life on the line with the choices that she was making. She was inviting people were white, other races to join her in her battle. And yes, anything could happen. Like now we get, we sit and we watch it happen on the TV, or we hold up a sign down at the courthouse or whatever. But
right.
literally her life was in her hands at that time and she risked it all.
Absolutely. And so if that story and her story is worthy to be told and dissected. A picture book is not just to be read and just a pretty picture book. A picture book is something that you do a deep dive, because you got to read the pictures too.
Right.
Um, and there's a visual storyline that takes place in it. And so there's areas when it's really super pronounced, even to the cover,
Yeah.
where it says "Love is loud." That's an
Right.
amazing statement.
Right.
You
That was
know,
going to be my next deep dive there,
sure.
because love is loud. I mean, that means so many things. But for me, when I picked it up, it made me think love is vocal. It's not passive. It's not,
Right.
it's an active emotion. It's an action, right? It's out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it bears strength. It's not meek. It's not, timid at all. It's loud. It's blaring at midnight. It's all those things.
And it
Um,
speaks across, I think, across all subgroups, because it's telling us as Black people in the world what we should be looking for as we are trying to change this world. It's also speaking to people who are not Black and saying, if you really believe in this cause, vocal vocal output is needed, vocal agreement, vocal change, actions are needed. Love is loud if you really believe in this cause of equality.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because also you got to realize it's not just us, it's all of us.
It's all of us.
You know,
It's all of us.
we're all connected. It's all connected,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, the kids who might listen to this too, you are so powerful, much more powerful than you know. There are white people in those 60s in the freedom rides with Diane that, also risked their lives.
Yeah.
Also were probably shunned by some of their contemporaries because they were vocal and spoke out. Who probably stopped getting police protection because they were vocal and spoke out about laws that they didn't agree with. So I just want the young people who are listening to know that you have more power than you give yourself credit for. And sometimes it's just going against what you think, people expect you to do. So
Yeah.
that being said, Bryan,
Mhm.
tell me how you, as an author and illustrator, got started.
Well, once the text is written, as an illustrator, what I do is a thumbnail sketch or a storyboard
Mm-hmm.
about, and that indicates what happens on each page, each spread, but it's a real loose interpretation of it, and it's normally drawn. Now I
Mm-hmm.
paint in watercolor and collage, so my sketches look very, very different from the actual finished pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the next step for me is to find actors to step into place and do it.
Yeah.
I was so blessed. My oldest daughter, Haley, posed. She's actually an actress as well, but she looked a lot like Diane Nash when Diane was 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the hair. The only difference was different eye color, but
Okay.
they look just alike. So she posed for the book, and
Oh,
and she's used to doing. She's grown up. I've done 46 books, so she's been in a lot
46.
of. Yeah,
Wow. And
this is the
she's your
latest one.
muse. She's your muse.
She and the other. I have three daughters,
Oh,
so
wow.
all the kids have been in, and the kids in the neighborhood here where we live in the Hudson Valley, New York.
Yeah.
They've been in my books as well. So I
So you
use
draw from your life,
yes,
essentially.
because I want the kids that pick it up to see somebody that they can recognize or go to school with or in their neighborhood. I want them to see themselves,
Right.
basically.
Right.
So that's one of my motivations for doing it that way.
So your kids must have access to a lot of information because you're writing and illustrating some of these books, co-writing and illustrating some of these books. So do you feel as a father that, of children, of your Black father, do you
Yeah.
feel like they know a little bit more than other people when it comes to historical figures?
Well, they know as much as I can give them, but they also know they get a chance to do a rare experience where we're going to reenact it. We're going to
Yeah.
set up the scene and talk about it, and talk about
Wow.
emotion and what I'm looking for and what happened at this particular time, and they get to experience it that way.
Oh,
You know,
wow. I mean,
yeah,
that's really cool, Bryan. I don't think a lot of kids get that kind of experience. You look at a picture book, in this case, Love is Loud, and it's so much more than a picture book. The books, like you said, the text is enhanced by the pictures and vice versa. But you're able to put that down and then kind of, potentially forget about it, God forbid. Whereas
right,
your kids are actually being able to be immersed, in
yeah.
the experience.
And that experience gets even pronounced even more as they get older and really see the magnitude of what it looks like and what it feels like to be in a picture book as a
Right.
kid. Now imagine if you and I, when we were really young, were in picture books, how different we would be. That's amazing because we
Picture
never
book.
saw ourselves, anybody
Right.
that looked like us, not in
Right.
Dick and Jane and all that stuff. We didn't see us.
Right. Picture book as a change maker, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm excited about. When you grow up, even when you go to the point where she has they have their own family and kids, and they read to their children, and they show them these books, because the printed word and the image is a powerful, powerful thing.
Yeah.
And so they can zoom back to their childhood and
Yeah.
experiences, and see how wonderful and how big a deal that really is. So
Right. There's proof, right? It lives forever. It lives
yes,
forever.
absolutely.
And Diane, people don't know this. Diane is still doing her thing in Chicago, right? She's still an
Yes,
activist for fair housing. She's still making it happen. She's still around.
absolutely. And it's so funny. I'm originally from the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and she was down at Salisbury University in Maryland, near my hometown. But
Wow.
I was there a week before her, and
Oh,
our things got crossed. I would have loved to be there to talk with her, because I was in early in stages of making the book, but I never got a chance to. So hopefully, I'll get a chance to have a meeting encounter with her. I would love that.
well, maybe you can come back here and we can have Diane on with you. You can
Okay,
chat.
we
You and Sandra and Diane could just chat together about this book.
that would be awesome. That would be so awesome.
So is she aware that this book exists about her life?
I think so. I think Sandra had sent us some information, but I'm not quite sure. But I would love to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
what
mean,
she
talk
thought of it.
about an ode to your life. You find out that somebody has written this about you, right? I think that is
Sure.
extraordinary. That's extraordinary. So let's talk about too, I mean, what you do is not, when you're growing up, you're taught you can be this, you can be this, you can be this. And yet here you are in a creative field, making it happen as a Black man in the world, right?
Yeah.
You never know who's listening to you going, wait, I like to draw and I like to tell stories. What what would you say to young boys and girls who might have that inside of them?
Well, I do that. I travel around the country. I do school visits all over the country, and I talk to young people, and I explain to them all the creative things that they do on a regular basis that they don't even recognize, and these are things that both I do and they do, that connect us. You know, creative decisions. And then we talk about what it means to be a dream walker, because
Mm,
that's what I am. It's creating from moment to moment. And building story. That's I labeled that as being a dream walker, because I'm dreaming this imagery, and I'm putting it together, whether it be historical fact or not. That creative process, I wake up with it and I go to sleep with it
I love
every
that. You
day.
call it dream walking.
Yeah,
You take
I'm right.
something.
That's my next book too. I'm doing a book called Dream Walker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
And is it going to be geared towards children?
absolutely. It's going to be a picture book, a long form picture book. Yeah,
Oh, dream walking. I like that. I like that context. Yeah, there are a
sure.
lot of kids out there who are really on the fence who may not think that, there's a place for them to actually earn money doing what they love. And you're
Mhm.
saying, no, there is. And it's
There's
called
absolutely space
this.
for them. It's a lot of space. You got
Yeah,
to just be courageous enough to not get talked out of your dream,
you're right.
you
Right.
know, because the
Yes.
naysayers will show up,
Yeah,
you
they
know.
always do. They
Yeah.
always do. So what's next on the horizon for you? I mean, are you doing any tours with this book or just I know that you're writing a Dreamwalkers book. What else is coming up for you?
Well, yeah, I'm doing book school visits with this particular book, and I'm also starting a book, James Earl Jones, his childhood.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm excited about that as well. So,
Oh man, who's gonna do his voice?
oh, no one can do his
No
voice.
one could do his voice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's great. You know what's beautiful about that too? A lot of kids don't know who these people are. You know,
yeah,
we're of a certain age. I know who that is, but you say, hey, do you know this voice? This is who this is,
right.
Or,
Well,
you're able to sit at this lunch counter now and just walk wherever you want to go. Somebody had to fight for that. And this is who she
absolutely,
is, you know? It's very cool.
absolutely.
So you're doing these tours through what are the dates? What we should be looking for you?
Actually, I'm going to be in Chicago at some point in 2 weeks, but I'm going to Columbus, Ohio, um, in parts of February. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I will be doing doing that, as well as Dayton, Ohio, and then parts of New York, schools in New York as well. So
Okay.
I'm zipping all around Washington D.C. definitely. I'm going to be doing
So you're
the
going to
international
be
school.
in the Northeast and Midwest in the dead of winter.
Yeah, that's the game. That's the game. You got to keep moving.
Okay. So what do you want to leave listeners with? I mean, think
Well,
about it.
the
This is your
takeaway,
legacy too, you know, your takeaway.
yeah,
What's your takeaway?
the takeaway for this is that there are stories that have always been right in front of us all along. Um, and creativity and stories are all around us. And the job of the writer in the picture book is to illuminate them. So my job, that's exactly what I'm doing. Diane Nash is a treasure,
Yes.
and we got to give her flowers now, you
Now,
know, and let the world know this is a tapestry of information that we're connecting. We have Dr. King, a lot of books on King, and a lot of Mrs. Parks, and all the things that happened. But there are a lot of players around that we need to fill in the blanks to tell this full tapestry and
right.
narrative of a certain point in history in America.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so there's so many stories that haven't told. That's why I'm excited, because I can't wait to get to the next one and to the next one, because it's all a chain,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and we're gonna connect this whole thing together.
So where can we find the book? Amazon? Where else?
You can find it at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all your mom and pop bookstores, the small independent. Don't forget the independent bookstores. They're the
Please don't.
powerful ones.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
need them. Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
So they're on the
Okay.
shelf. It's on the shelf now and available.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to make sure that listeners know this. And, you know, I'm also going to connect with you about any tour dates that you have so listeners will know that too. Maybe if somebody wants to come and meet you and bring their child to come and meet you.
Absolutely.
It'd be wonderful. I'm just putting this out there, Miss Nash. He's going to be in Chicago. If you guys could get together, that would be wonderful. Let us know how that goes.
I certainly will. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bryan. Take care. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I am so appreciative of the work that you're doing for this. So thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.